Hello everyone, welcome to the HCW Podcast. On this week's show, we will be covering WWE Smackdown, AEW Rampage, WWE Raw, and AEW Quake at the Lake, sponsored by Dr. Seuss because every show has a bloody name. Roll intro? Oh, and we've gone under a rebrand.
HCW Reviews.
Ta-ta! Let us know what you think of the new logo. You should probably already see it from the thumbnail. But welcome, my name is RGX, joined as always by my trusty team. Today we have Rate Wrestle, Frozzy and DP. How are you guys?
All good, just absolutely roasting. It's painful.
It's warm. What about yourself, DP?
Yeah, not too bad. Work is absolutely kicking my ass, as it usually is per week. But outside of that, it's not too bad. It was bad earlier with the weather, but it's cooled down right now, so it's yeah.
Small mercies. And how are we feeling today, Ray?
Absolutely sober. I'm not going to discuss my my outside life with these people. But I'm doing alright, yeah. I'm hot, and it's not cool down here. It's still hot.
Yeah, I know it's a lot warmer down south than it is up here, but mid-20s when you're used to late teens is still a killer for me.
Yeah.
There has been a lot of wrestling for us to watch. Obviously, we'll get to the kind of bigger stuff, but we'll kick things off with WWE Smackdown. Take it away, Ray.
Excellent. So we're going to start with the bigger stuff. So SmackDown, it was decent, I'll be honest. We started off with McAfee. So he was doing, like, from the UK fans, the Sky Sports kind of analysis screen where you get the pen and stuff of what happened to Happy Corbin. And he was analysing when he got kicked in the groin. Which just reminded me of the Simpsons football in the groin, which he's going to go with. And then it panned to backstage with Happy Corbin looking at the screen really annoyed, and then a group of like 8 to 10 WWE superstars all cramped up in a I don't know why you'd awkwardly all be standing there like that. And then Ricochet kind of takes the lead of walking out the pack laughing, and it ends with them having a match on SmackDown, which goes straight into it. So Corbin was pretty much in control straight away in the match. He did his usual lariat where he rolls underneath the rope, comes up the one, does the lariat. Then Ricochet kind of had his usual comeback, like athletic comeback, where he's doing flips and springboards and tucks. And Corbin did a cool move. It was like a reverse TKO. So he had him on his like in a torture rack position and did the TKO that way, which was pretty cool. Then he chokeslammed Ricochet on the apron, but Ricochet kind of fought back and he ended up winning with the shooting star press after McAfee was kind of like jibing at Corbin a bit, which makes me feel like this is going to continue, which I don't know if I want it to continue.
Yeah, I feel it's run its course. I don't know why they're still kind of antagonising each other.
Yeah. But around the 2 3/4, it was a decent start to SmackDown. And then this was followed by Zayn and the Usos backstage. So Zayn's knocked on Roman Reigns' door, and then the Usos are coming out. Jimmy is happy with Zayn, like he's acting nice to Zayn, and then Jay's just staring a hole for him. And he was basically saying Heyman's at home because, you know, man took an F5 on the announce table, which is fair enough. And Zayn wants to visit Roman, but the Usos said, well, Jimmy said he'll text him later on when he can. Following this, we had Nakamura versus Ludwig Kaiser. Ludwig was in control of a lot of this match. They were mentioning his NXT accolades, which was odd because they basically hidden that he was on NXT until this point. Shinsuke had a usual comeback with his kicks, and he did that German slide suplex he does. Ludwig had a few near falls, but then obviously out of nowhere Kinshasa, and Nakamura picked up the win. Around at 2.5, it was just kind of an average matchup. know what you guys thought.
Yeah, it was decent. It was functionally good.
It's getting to the point where I think the match we all want to see is Nakamura and Gunther anyway. Like that's all I want to see. They can get there however they want as long as I see that match.
Yep, and that is going to be next week, so that's going to be decent.
Yeah.
I just want it to be a strike fest. I don't want Shinsuke to be. I don't want Shinsuke to be squashed. I want him to get offense in. But I want Gunther to look strong as well. So backstage we had Kofi. He was discussing Woods being squashed by the Vikings. But every day's a new day. And then he's going to get Viking revenge. That was pretty much the general gist of that. Zayn comes back to the the Roman locker room, and he was going because he doesn't have tech signal, he was worried he wasn't going to get in. And then the Usos make him do Roman's entrance. Can you sort out Roman's entrance later? I don't know, it changes at all, so I don't know why he would need to do it. I don't think it's ever changed in the last year.
No,
yeah, it's good. Yeah, I mean, it's just surely Zayn would go, hold on. Surely they've just got it on track now. Then we had Liv come down, which she kind of got a mixed reaction, which you're going to expect it, because she tapped out. There's no way of hiding that and going, oh, you're still the big baby face. She tapped out.
Swears.
Yeah, and then she had the perfect reason of why she tapped out. I thought the 3 count had already happened, and it's fair enough.
And swears saying, I appreciate y'all calling me on my shit.
Yeah.
Just out of nowhere, I'm sure.
Baby face.
Yeah.
Sonya comes down at that point and was basically saying she screwed Ronda, and then it's obviously Pierce sucks at his job because he didn't do anything about it, which is fair enough, to be fair. It's not even been on television since, I don't remember.
Other than chasing people. Yeah.
And then this led into I think, how many people were in this gauntlet? It was 7 in the end.
6.
Yeah.
So 6. Yeah, I literally haven't writ moves in between this. I've just gone by who won, and then we went because it would have went on forever. So you had Sonya versus Aaliyah, which Sonya absolutely battered Aaliyah and picked up the win. Then you had Deville versus Raquel. She got a few moves in Deville, but Raquel obviously was always going to squash her. Raquel versus Shotzi was pretty decent in the between. Shotzi was getting a few submissions on her, wearing out her legs and stuff like that, but then Raquel picked up the win again. Raquel versus Xia Li at that point, so they were still trying to chop her down, but Raquel still picked up the win. Raquel versus her best mate Natalya. So that was pretty decent, back and forth between them, but then Raquel still kind of picked up the win. So if I remember, she did a bomb because Natalya was punching on the ropes, didn't she, and picked her up from that. And then Shayna absolutely just battered Raquel and picked up the win because she was so worn down, which is perfect. We're at 2.5 stars. It was a gauntlet match, and it's short match. It's so many short matches. It's never going to be fantastic.
So, since we've got to this bit, Shayna went on the bump to basically build up the match between her and Liv at Clash. And she was basically saying that Liv Morgan's fans aren't even actual wrestling fans; they're just horny guys, basically. That don't know much about pro wrestling. They just look at her and think she's pretty. And she's
not wrong.
I was going to say, is anyone here a Liv Morgan fan? Or is it just me?
So, she basically starts this really long, really hesitant list of all the things that Liv needs to prepare ahead of the match. Making sure she's got someone that she lives with that can wipe her arse for her, because she won't be able to move her hands.
Right. Here's a prolonged story as well, because I remember when Shayna was first around, she was battering the Riot Squad a lot of the time and breaking and flipping limbs and stuff.
Liv Morgan in the Elimination Chamber.
Yeah.
She absolutely battered her against the chamber. I was like...
Yeah. What are the odds of Liv just tapping out if she picked up the win again?
If they do the finish again,
would you run it back?
If they do that finish again, then they are turning her heel.
It's either that or they'll do that choke, because obviously Shayna's finishes the choke. They'll do the typical walk up the rope and then still be in the choke but get pinned. Yeah. I feel like she won't lose. She won't win clean. And she shouldn't, because Shayna should kick her in the face, but it's pretty hard. So Zayn came back backstage, and he was getting really annoyed with the Usos saying, "I take the shirt off and like, what's going on?" Like, and then Jay basically said, just snapped and went, "You need to pull your weight. You're doing nothing for us," which is, to be fair, is fair enough. Like, they've got all the titles, and Zayn is just there at the moment, really. So we then had the Viking Raiders versus Jim and Tommy. Murder. Half a star. That's literally what happened.
There's not really much you can say about that.
No, yeah, and then Kofi Kendo came down and started slapping kendo sticks everywhere. Like, Ivar got absolutely obliterated by that kendo stick. Did you see his back?
Yeah.
Good grief. So then we had Kofi versus Eric. Eric literally needs his soul. That's one of the knees he hit. I saw his soul leave his body. It was just like, I like it because it's a very knee orientated offense. Like, everything he does is involving hitting with your knees, which it's going to hurt getting hit with your knee. Kofi did like a stress fall, and then he picked up the win with a roll up. I rated it 2 stars. It was like, it wasn't. It was just there. And then before we get to the final segment of SmackDown, the Women's Tag Team Championships are back. That was it. So yeah, Roman comes down with his Sami Zayn entrance that he got sorted for him, which was nice of him. Acknowledge him. That's a usual thing. He respects Lesnar, but he hates Lesnar. Drew came down. He basically said he can't wait for Clash. And then out of nowhere, you hear the fateful music of Karrion Kross, which the fans didn't know. I've never heard that music, it seemed like. As soon as it hit, I knew who it was.
Yeah.
It's such a good entrance, by the way. Like, it's just the aesthetics of it. It's so pleasing. And then Karrion Kross literally mugged Drew. Absolutely obliterated him. Like, got his head in the steel steps. And then Scarlett came down to the ring. She had the giant hourglass, which she normally has, and she kind of put it in the ring and flipped it. So time's nearly up for Roman. Karrion's back with his nice hairdo. He's not bold anymore, boys. But yeah, fall and pray. That was the end of SmackDown.
So obviously we talked about the return on the HCW news on Tuesday there. I thought it was well executed. I think there's a happy medium though between rehabbing them and putting them immediately in the main event when there's already a clear main event program in place. If Drew wasn't already named #1 contender, this would have been alright. If this was him coming out to make his challenge and then Cross interrupted, to be fine. But because Drew's already the set #1 contender, to me it just felt a bit muddying. So I get what they were going for by trying to fire him straight into main event level.
Yeah.
I feel like
one of his last matches was a loss to Jeff Hardy. I mean, so.
but who's really losing now? That's what you got to think.
Jeff's always losing.
But yeah, you just got to wait and see how it's built up first. See what they kind of spin it. But yeah, SmackDown. It had
sorry. I was going to say, I don't think there's been a time, or at least not recent anyway, where there's been literally 0 to maybe like 1% of the crowd knowing who this was. Even when he appeared in the area, no one really reacted to it.
Until they saw his face on the camera, I don't think that anyone could recognise him until his face came blaring up and it's, there's Karrion Kross.
Yeah, and then even then, no one seemed to really, care.
I cared. That's all that matters.
Internet cared.
But yeah, so SmackDown was 7 segments on SmackDown of 5 matches. That's what you call a good ratio, before we carry on. And there was 1 segment that wasn't on the show, which we're all happy about. If you want to discuss it, DP, you can't discuss anything. It wasn't there.
Yes.
Let's
to
begin
much
Rampage.
My chagrin. Yes.
Rampage.
Right. So here we go with Rampage. Sorry. The 5th of August. This was, a standard Rampage, but we'll go into the matches and see what happened. We started things off with John Moxley taking on Mance Warner. And if you're wondering who Mance Warner is, don't worry, I am too.
So is
Hold
Miro
on.
on Twitter.
I love a bit of Mance. Leave Mance Warner alone. Jim Cornette loves Mance Warner randomly, if that helps.
It's morning. But no, this was a decent match. It definitely highlighted the aspect of these guys are more violent, and these guys are more hard hitters in regards to they don't necessarily do the fancy stuff. Like, it's not about technicality. It's not about submission holds. It's not about grappling. It's more about striking, brawling.
Yeah, they're there to fight.
Yeah, exactly. So it worked in that aspect, but it wasn't helped by the fact that I literally had no idea who Mats was.
Mance. Leave Mance alone.
Yeah, it was, like I said, a very good, it was a decent match. Very sort of, to use rate system, like 2-star, 2.5-star, sort of mid, sort of just there.
Yeah.
But ultimately ends up with Moxley getting the win via Bulldog choke.
Was he bleeding?
Of course he was. It's John Moxley. So following from this match, we had basically a throwaway match, or as I call should have been on Dark. We had Konosuke Takeshita, not Takeshita.
Takeshita.
No, Takeshita. No, I'm saying it.
Takeshita.
No, Takeshita. Taking on Dolph Ziggler Jr., Ryan MF. Nothing to say. It's literally just a ABC running the 1, 2, 3. That's literally all it was.
That was the big win that was supposed to make us believe he could become Ring of Honor World Champion.
And I believed in it.
We know you did.
DDT champion. That's all you need.
Only Japanese titles translated to American success.
It's not my fault Americans don't understand.
So
Continue.
we had the match that everyone was looking forward to in the Honor Club. We had Layla Gray from the baddie section, or the baddies, whatever, taking on Madison Rayne, who is everyone's favorite wrestler right now. This was a match where things happened.
It's a Rain who can wrestle. Except no one ever.
It was all right for what it was meant to do. It wasn't a spectacle by any means. I can't sell this match because there was nothing to it. It was obviously going to win. It was obvious what was going to happen, and the only note I have was that Madison's finish is called the Cross Reigns,
and it took 8.5 minutes to get there.
Yeah.
This is Rampage, folks. So following from this, we had what I think was match of the night. A tornado tag, Swerve and Glory, Keith Lee and Swerve Strickland, taking on the tandem of Tony Nese and Josh Woods, who has recently joined with Nese and Mark Sterling. This was, like I said, match of the night. This had a bit of everything that you want from it. You had Nese doing his typical offense. You had Woods showing off what he can do with his grappling ability, his submission ability. You had Strickland and Lee doing what they do best as well with a tag team offense with their arsenal. It used a lot of everything that you could expect from a match like this. And yeah, it was very decent. I thoroughly enjoyed it. And we get the end of the match where we get a swerve stomp onto some chairs, which is always a nice little spot to have. And that was Swerve picking up the victory. And then that was pretty much right. That's Rampage.
Now that we're back, now this is where we would put the Battle of the Belts review. If any of us really cared enough to watch it, being totally honest. we all have a lot going on work-wise, life-wise at the moment. And quite honestly, it just looked like a house show that was televised and wanted people to spend money on. So it wasn't for us. It was all predictable matches. Nothing happened of note. Unless anyone did watch it and wants to make any comments before we move on to Raw.
No titles changed hands. Let's move on.
Main event was supposed to be good if it helps. Was it the main event? Oh no, Takeshita versus Cesaro was supposed to be good. I'll watch it at some point.
I think, was it Hater? I think broke her nose.
Yeah, we covered that in the news.
Okay,
Yeah.
Battle of the Bout.
So, Raw.
Excellent. So yeah, we kicked off with the Control. That is their name, isn't it? I've just assumed it's their name at this point. Yeah. So all three of them in the ring. They basically stated that the women's division was uninspired without them. They're going to bring the hunger back to the women's division. Io Sky and Dakota Sky. I honestly, because of it, I actually thought they may have changed the surname to Sky at one point because they do stuff like that. That could have happened. And then out comes
well though, because you can get away with that as a heel.
Yeah, she does a typical. I love her because she uses childish insults as well, like you dummies and it.
Yeah, the only bad thing about it was that she's on her team, so you shouldn't be getting her name wrong. But
yeah,
if it's an opponent, fair enough. You can just play it off like Jericho used to call people random stuff, didn't he? So
yeah. And it's close. Colin Sky, it's gone, Colin Sky.
Yeah. Indeed.
Indeed. But yeah, so here comes Bliss and Friends. They're going to have a 3-on-3 match at Clash, which I'm looking forward to be honest.
Same. When I saw it, I was like, a match I'm excited for.
Yeah. Then they obviously brawled, and then they did a spot which I'm going to mention now, which annoyed me. Bliss did a dive on 5 people and took them all down. Bliss.
Yeah.
I can't, there's no,
5 foot, 90 pounds.
Yeah, they actually went down, properly, though. They didn't, it just little collapse, like she was, Mogger jumping off the rope. I don't know why I picked in Mogger out all people there. But yeah, following this, we had Dawkins versus Seth. This was a lead from last week because obviously Seth faced Ford. So Dawkins pounced Seth Rollins over the announce table, which was pretty fun. Then Ford got ejected, threw out because he went a bit mental for no reason.
Rightly so.
Yeah. Then Dawkins was actually showing a bit of fire in this match. He kind of showed a bit more than you'd expect because Ford is so out there to Dawkins. Mm-hmm. So it's good to see him actually get a few bit of offense. And Seth ended up picking up the win with the pedigree. I rated that 2 3/4. And he ended up then straight afterwards stomping him because Seth's a dick.
Oh, so yes.
Well,
yeah. This was followed by a bit of a throwback from last week with the Mysterios and Edge. So Edge was there apologising because obviously he speared Dominic out his shoes. Dominic was just staring at him because that's Dominic's face. But then they kind of went, it's nice, it's fine. And then Dominic did a push, and it's angry Dominic now. Yay, angry Dominic. Miz and Ciampa out backstage. Miz basically said he believes in Ciampa. Ciampa went through a whole thing that he discussed how he was trained and he had the honour of Harley Race. And then they showed his robe on the wall behind, which was a nice touch.
The thing for that is backwards, by the way. Ciampa should be saying he believes in Miz, not the other way around. Because Miz is the shit.
Okay. Yeah, I genuinely thought it was wrong then. I was like, oh no, you were on about actual TV. I'm fine. Yeah. That's good. So Ezekiel versus KO was up next. He mugged Ezekiel. Absolutely mugged him. I rated it half a star because it was just a battering, but he did an NXT throwback as well, which when he first came to NXT, he fucking powerbombed people on the apron all the time, so it was nice.
Yeah. Right, it may have been half a star wherever you gave it as far as match rating.
Yeah.
For me, it gets like 4 stars for fixing Kevin Owens immediately. Because that's what Kevin Owens should be doing. Like, give us back prize fighter Kevin Owens. Yes. Beckon, please.
We've still not seen the all-important third brother, Elrod.
We're never going to see him.
No, I guarantee, right, I don't guarantee because my guarantees have been pushed lately, but I would say it's highly likely that we don't see Ezekiel again in about 2 or 3 months. We'll see Elias enter the Rumble or something.
And join... Oh, no, he won't. They won't be around by that point.
What, Elias does the three faces volleyball thing in the Rumble, where he pisses Elias at number 1 and number 2, and number 10 is Ezekiel, and number 20 is Eddie Elrod.
What you meant he was number 1 and number 2? I was like, how's he going to do that?
Because they're not the same person, Ray.
Imagine if after it actually were fooled and it actually is Damien Sandow. So we completely mugged him. Then we had the Judgment Day. They did the famous line, "I am the danger" from Breaking Bad. You know, I am the one who knocks. And then Edge and Damien, like, he was shot, didn't care that much for this thing. I just kind of scooped past it. And then Edge and Mysterio discussing backstage, and Mysterio kept saying, "I know Dominic." No shit. Because Edge was going to try and sort it out, but yeah, Mysterio knows Mysterio, so he'll sort it out. We had Finn versus Ray up next, which was a lot better than it would be a few weeks back. Like, they had time and it was good. They got a lot of offense in. It was quite back and forth. Priest got 619 because he protected Balor. There was a sunset bomb from Ray on the outside, which was pretty cool. Priest was interfering, but then Edge came down to kind of even the odds. And then it was kind of back and forth at that point. And then out of nowhere, Rhea Ripley has got Dominic just dragging him out. And he's absolutely battered. Like, that cut looked legit, by the way. It looked like she actually been palmed him.
So, which was alive with the pictures.
So,
living the dream there, Dominic was.
Yeah, pretty much.
To quote Ollie Davis of Wrestle Talk, I'll give him the credit of this one because it's brilliant. He should be changing his name at this point. He's not Dom, he's clearly Sub.
Sub Mysterio.
But yeah, so Ray obviously was distracted, and then Finn Balor kind of picked up the win. He did the 1916 is his one thing, isn't it? Or is it? And then the coup de grace. I rated it 3 and I think it was 3.5. I rated it. Very good match.
It was.
And then we were followed up by the most random pairing in the world of Tamina and Dana Brooke.
So obviously, throughout the night, and this is one of the main. Like, the pre-interview was one of the main bits that could have highlighted it. There was loads of stuff going on in the background. Like, one of the early bits, there was a car crash in the background. During this one, there was police.
Oh, that was during KO. That was during the KO interview at the Outback. That was,
during the pre-match interview for this, there was police running by them.
Yeah.
So you're like, what the hell is going on?
So, they're adding entertainment, and there's a lot of like walking past each other, which was cool. It wasn't like, oh, here's another camera. It's like with AEW where there's a camera and then there's a camera over there, and it's like, you know. But yeah, Tamina and
so you know it's Triple H and his blueprint all over this.
Yeah,
so, you know he absolutely loves his parking lot incidents from NXT.
Yeah. Even going back to his own career.
Yeah. But yes, so yeah, Tamina and Brooke are the most random tag team ever. I'm going to throw it out there at the moment. And they were just on about the control yapping on and stuff like that. This led to the Kai and Sky match. Kai and Sky versus Brooke and Tamina. They actually made everyone look pretty decent. Even Tamina had a good showing in this match. The control were in control. And then Tamina got a hot tag, which was weird to see. Tamina getting a hot tag, but then Io Sky picked up the win with a moonsault on Tamina. Right at 2.5. It was just an average match, but everyone actually looked decent, and it wasn't usual like women's tag match that last 10 seconds.
What could have weirded me out is hearing the commentators refer to Dana Brooke as the veteran of the match. Like, not just Tamina, but Dana Brooke being a veteran. That could have weirded me out. Even though she has been around between this and NXT since like 2016.
Yeah. 15, yeah.
Yeah. So.
But yeah, it's just it was just the average match. But Kai and Sky move on. Owens backstage at that point. The interviewer chased him down, and Owens was really annoyed by, "What are you doing? Why are you chasing me?" Then he asked him why he did this, and Kevin Owens just replied, "Because I'm Kevin Owens." Fuck. And then that's when you saw in the background there was a car crash with like Nikki Ash, and
one of the Ash boys,
Doudrop, just looking at the car randomly in the background. Followed up with Ciampa versus Lashley, which was my match of the night. Ciampa came down in the Harley Race robe. There was a jump start with Ciampa attacking Lashley. Ciampa was getting outpowered by Bobby Lashley, which was what you'd expect from this matchup. But Ciampa kept stopping like Lashley's momentum, so he was about to get on top a bit more, and he'd cut him off. They speared Miz through the ropes. AJ Styles appeared out of nowhere. So Lashley, speared Ciampa, was about to pick to the win, but Miz put his foot on the rope. Then AJ appeared out of nowhere. There was Ciampa ripped off the turnbuckle, which got a near fall after he slammed Lashley into it and then into the shoulder into it. Then he was doing the Gargano escape, which was a pretty nice thing to see. And the commentators just mentioned DIY, so they're hinting at it. So it's going to be sad when he appears on AEW, isn't it? And then Ciampa had to tap because he got in the put in the hurt lock. But it was a very good match.
It was.
I liked both of them.
I really like Ciampa's selling of the hurt lock, where he's desperately like kicking out to kicking his legs out to try and get the ropes that way. It was really well done.
And then, weirdly enough, I was thinking about this guy during the whole show because I hadn't seen him in ages, and then suddenly Omos is around. Because I was like, have they just give up? We should generate the scene, but nope. So we had Omos versus Andrea Guerrero and Spencer Slade. Just to throw it out there, I looked up Andrea Guerrero to see his name because I didn't know what they said. His actual shoot indie name is Mambo Italiano, which is incredible.
Mambo
Italiano. But yeah, so this match was a long classic match. Not really, Omos smash. Half a star.
And cricket.
Omos smashed him. He's going to win the top. I believe in him. Then they had Steph backstage. He was just pissed off about the whole situation they kept bringing up with Riddle. He's the gatekeeper of WWE, which is fair enough. And he doesn't want him to go out the same way as Cody, which obviously Cody's a bit done for at the moment. We had Chad Gable versus Dolph. This was just like a pour-on wrestling classic, kind of like Matt versus Matt kind of guy. Gable hit the Chaos Theory. Gable was he was getting highlighted during this match, as in like they were showing he actually is a really good wrestler if you actually let him do stuff. But he ended up losing because he got super kicked out of his shoes by Dolph Ziggler. Right at 2 3/4. Nice match.
Gable.
And then but yeah, Gable, he was highlighted for the whole match. It was good.
Yeah. Hopefully they actually do something with him.
Yeah, it'd be nice. This was followed by a promo with Doudrop and Nikki, which annoyed me because they're the only tag team and they're definitely not going to win. Yeah, and they're the only legit tag team.
Because they put them against Asuka in the first round. Right.
Yeah. So silly. And then main event, AJ and The Miz. So there's a few cool spots, like AJ got dumped over the barricade. Kendo stick for days. And like Ciampa was pulled, like Ciampa came down at this point. There was a few table spots. AJ kicked out the skull crushing finale, and then he ended up picking up the win with the Styles Clash. I read that 3 1/4 stars. Like, it was a good main event.
Mm-hmm.
And then we have AJ Styles celebrating the ring, and there's a bit of commotion in the crowd. The camera doesn't pan to it, which I think is really good. Like, they didn't like. It's like what they do in football. If someone's running across the pitch, they don't show it. So they didn't just instantly go, "Oh, here's that guy," but you could tell it was Dexter Lumis.
Yeah, I really appreciated the fact that Corey and Byron were almost acting, "Am I allowed to say who it is?"
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It wasn't like, "Oh, who is that?" It's like, "I'm allowed to say." That I really liked. That was a really nice touch, because that's a dangerous man from another company who last time he was there was known for being a psychopath.
Yeah.
So you're going to be a bit scared if he turns up. You're going to have police chasing him around.
Yeah, especially with anything just a hoodie, like marked hoodie. Yeah, it's not like but yeah, Raw this week was decent again, which was good. And I said I've been counting segments and stuff. There was 8 segments and 7 matches. That's what you call a good ratio.
It's like a 3-hour show. That's fantastic.
Now let's talk about Dynamite.
Yeah. The Dynamite that everyone else seems to have loved.
We found Dynamite, there we go. So yeah, AEW Dynamite, Quake at the Lake. So the first match on the card, which started pretty straight away, was Brody King versus Darby Allin in a casket match. So it started off with Brody King coming down in his spooky entrance, but then out of nowhere, Darby just full-on wails on him. Jump starts. Then he picked up a tack board, so his skateboard, he whacked some tacks into Brody King. Like, absolute. He hit him in the gut, and there was loads of tacks in Brody King's gut. It was horrible. Brody King was absolutely busted open, like, bleeding everywhere. They did like the table dive. Like, he was just getting thrown everywhere.
Could I just ask, where the hell did this apparently meme chat come from? That the table is the most over person in AEW? Like,
I've no idea.
It's just come out from nowhere the last few shows where there's any hint they might get to see a table. They chant for it constantly.
It's because the tables don't tend to break in AEW, or there's always some sort of mishappening with a table.
Yeah, so it's fun when it's out there because you know something terrible is going to happen. Then the lights went off while Darby was in the ring. They were off for like 55 minutes, it felt like. Then they came back on, and Buddy and Malachi were with Brody outside. They went in the ring, battered Darby Allin, absolutely mauled him. And I called this spot, by the way, instantly. I knew, because it was like, why is Sting not coming down? And I was like, oh god.
Because he's already there.
So this is what annoyed me, because this is really unrealistic anyway. It was kind of like his mate's getting absolutely battered in the ring. And because it's a fun spot, we're going to wait. So they're going to throw Darby into the casket, open the casket, and guess who's there?
So they did try and cover for this somewhat, because there are thumbtacks on the inside of the casket door. Obviously, you can't physically push back on it.
It was just stupid though. It was like, what is Darby being mugged in the ring, and Sting's going, you know what would be cool if I lie in this casket and wait for someone to open it? What happens if Darby opened it? And he's like, oh well, it was pointless, we won. Why am I in this casket? And then what made it worse is, like, they opened the casket and old man Sting took forever to get up. He couldn't get out. It was like, why are you not attacking him? Just beat him up.
He does that thing where you try to get out of a chair, like, hold both ends of the chair, try and get up. That's all like.
Yeah, it's got an old man, and she's got, why are you not attacking him?
The thing about it is, this is not even the worst thing on the show.
Yeah. And he beats down everyone. He throws the bat to Malachi, and Malachi goes, nope, and then walks and leaves. And then Sting follows him up the ramp.
Why?
Yeah. And then Darby Allin chokes out Brody King with I think it's his chain, or it was Brody King's chain, wasn't it? Choked him out, and it was the most fucking like rehearsed drop I've ever seen. Choked him out on top of the ropes, and then he just dropped and rolled into the casket.
It might as well have been a Rube Goldberg device.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love that spot. Like the way that he has Brody hanging the same way that Brody did him a few weeks back.
Yeah, but the landing perfectly in the...
I think that was perfect in its own way, because Brody is such a size anyway that someone like Darby can't just drag him over to the casket anyway.
Yeah, but it's coincidental, isn't it? It's like he perfectly kind of just landed, like it was all coincidental. Because if that casket was 3 inches more, it was like,
even
what are you going to do now?
Called it a hole-in-one.
Yeah.
Yeah, I did it.
I read it 2 3/4. Like a lot of it, not. Like, I was enjoying it, and then the stuff in the middle was kind of pish.
The only casket match or coffin match I've ever seen shorter than that was Undertaker and Miro in Saudi. Like, that was incredibly quick casket match. It should have been twice as long and on a pay-per-view.
Yeah.
With build.
Yeah. And this was better than the
no, it's definitely better.
Darby and Andrade coffin match from a few months back.
I don't know, because there was less absolute insanity happening during it, like just a random story happening in the middle of the match that made no sense. Why Sting waiting for his mate to get beat up? I want answers. I don't get it. But we'll move on. So Moxley was out back with his usual weird promos. Can someone explain to me, because I didn't get it, but I might just be stupid. So, FTW title, why don't we call this the FYI title?
FY means for your information, so it'd be.
But
like
why?
No one knows what title is, essentially, is what you're saying. So, for your information, this is the title.
Because
so it's exactly what I thought he said, and it still sounds stupid.
It's because the FTW title's more over, because they did more to raise the profile of that title.
Fucking, let's not go back into that. Hook's over though, so the title's more over now. Let's move on. So then they had Jericho out back. He's the last survivor, and he's going to stretch the shit out of Moxley. Short and sweet.
That was good. It was good. Yeah. I enjoyed that.
Yeah. And to be fair, the start of the match, when we get to it, he did what he said.
He did what he said at the end as well.
So, Lucha Bros versus Rush and Andrade. So it was a dive-a-thon at the start. It was just announced as a tornado tag match when it happened, wasn't it? I don't remember it announced before, and it might have been. Like, there was just, everyone was getting kneed at this point. It was just like your typical high-octane Lucha Libre match where every move was, like, insane. They were getting desperation falls at this point. Lucha, Penta hit an apron destroyer on Andrade. And then there was a cool spot, which I really enjoyed this spot, where they tied Penta's mask in the rope. And the only way Penta could break up the fall was to unmask himself, which I thought was incredible. Then they threw another mask in, and then Andrade, being the ultimate heel, threw that into the crowd. Then the fans got really annoyed at one guy because he kept the mask. I keep the mask. Fuck off.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So that mask is coming home with me, boys.
100%.
It's because I love Rush and Andrade.
Support.
And then Rush hit the his finish, which is still incredible. The velocity of his finish is insane. Like, it's fine calling it. Like, most people doing that drop kick in the corner, it wouldn't look good, but his looks like it's going to knock you out. But I rate that 3 3/4. I really enjoyed the match. Probably one of my favourite matches this week.
It was really good. My only issue is that's what they're doing with Lucha Bros now. Lucha Bros seem just now to be there to look good in defeat and make their opponents look good.
What's insane as well is, because obviously I've got my stats page, I've only seen the Lucha Bros tag together 30 times. And they've been in AEW like 3 years. It was the same with Street Profits, only seen them tag 22, 23 times. It's because they're always in 8-man tags and stuff, yeah.
Yeah, plus the fact they seem focused on pushing Phoenix as a singles guy and not Penta, which is backwards to me.
Yeah, Penta's incredible.
Because Phoenix is the one getting injured.
Yeah. But. So following this, we had the Young Bucks and the Dark Order and Page backstage. They basically thanked. He basically thanked Page for saving him. They started going on about the long history and stuff like that. They want to bring back the Hung Bucks, but Adam Page was like, "No, the Dark Order are in this. I don't really want to ruin their moment," which is good stuff. I like that as a story. Like, you know, he doesn't want to ruin that moment for him. Like, it makes sense.
Yeah,
I'll be honest.
It's not I hate you guys. Like, it's no, I'm just being loyal to these guys. It's not fair if I do it. So
yeah. Followed by Luchasaurus versus Anthony Henry, absolute squash match. So they made Luchasaurus a hit like a monster out of nowhere. But they've made him a face again. I'm really confused what they're doing.
don't worry, so's everyone.
Yeah, but yeah, I read it off, though. It was just a squash. Then Cage was on the screen. He was talking absolute trash about Jungle Boy, but Jungle Boy went out back because, like, Cage couldn't see him going out back. He's about to attack Cage, but he just runs off. And then the security trying to hold him back, and then Luchasaurus goes ham on every security member and destroys Pat Buck with a headbutt. So, good times. This was followed by Miro, who was in the Void, but for some reason Julia Hart's in the Void as well now, so people can travel to the Void. He's the Redeemer.
I did really like the point where she might touch his cheek and say accept the gift, and he was like, there's only one woman that can touch a Redeemer and it's not you.
Yeah.
But yeah, I just want to see Miro wrestle again.
That was Julia.
Yeah, Julia Hart in the Void.
Yeah.
I didn't recognise that. I thought it was Nikita Lyons for some reason. I don't know why.
Nikita Lyons from NXT.
More random.
Literally, I didn't recognise her at all.
Completely different body shapes as well.
Open. The Forbidden Door. That's how they're going to open the Forbidden Door. Nikita Lyons and AEW.
Touching Miro, just like, hey.
Speaking of Nikita Lyons, did anyone see on Twitter, like, it was on NXT where she did the diving Bronco Buster spot and completely missed? Like, how do you have a backside that big and still miss?
Moving on. So yeah, after Miro being the Void, we had Hobbs backstage with a segment with the Factory. Everyone really wanted to see this. Factory said they're going to take out Starks or Hobbs, and Hobbs was like, okay, but if you don't make me your problem. So this was followed by obviously having a match. Nope, another segment. So Lethal comes down to the ring. They were bragging because they attacked Wardlow and put him through a table on Rampage. Then Wardlow comes down, he's going to whoop all three of their asses, but then FTR come down to help Wardlow, and there's just a bit of a brawl, and they kind of escape. So that was the end of that. Then we had a match. Nope, another segment. So we had the Jazz Society backstage. They're going to win. That was the whole thing. Then Danhausen came and went, we're going to... oh, we didn't. What am I on about? Danielson. I wrote Danielson. That really confused me. Daniel Garcia was bringing up Danielson again, and then... Why the fuck did not Julia Hart, you've ruined it now. Anna Jay just choked out another random person because it's fun and it's getting her over.
It's not though.
No. And then we follow up with an actual match. Solo versus Stark. It went longer than it needed to go. Stark needs to stop posing. Like, I don't mind the odd pose, but he did it like 5 times in the match, and it was like, even JR was like, why are you doing this now? It's getting a bit boring. And then he just speared Solo out his shoes and picked up the winner. Rated 1 star. It was just there.
Yeah, I commentated this whole show, didn't he? I wasn't just hearing it.
Yeah, it's because it's Quake at the Lake, and it's a big show.
Right. Right, okay.
And then Hobbs got really annoyed and threw a TB on the floor. That was the thing.
As you do.
The Ass Boys were backstage.
Is that another segment, is it, right?
Yep. Billy Gunn was annoyed because they ruined the only match he made famous, which I did like that line. And then, out of nowhere, who came into the screen? I've not even wrote who came in. Was it Dan? Yeah, that's it, because he called him Grandad Ass. And next one on Rampage, it's going to be the Ass Boys versus Beardhausen. Where did Eric Rowan come from?
It wasn't in the shot.
Yeah.
I even went back and rewatched it when I saw the actual match graphic, Because that's how I knew it was Eric Redbeard.
Yeah, because he said Beardhausen to him, but I was like, who's Beardhausen?
He
Well, I don't know.
me and this guy, but he was off screen.
Yeah.
How do you fuck that up? Framing is not that difficult.
And then we had a segment with the best friends, and Aria Davari. He's the Truthbusters. I didn't even know that was his team until he randomly got an out. Who knows? He wants OC to join them. OC went no. Yep. So this was followed by Cargill versus Madison Rain. Cargill speared Rain out of her shoes, I'm going to be honest. Like, that was a very good spear. But then it just got really sluggish. I just wrote this as pants at one point. Look, it was just bad.
Yeah, it's blind leading the blind. Neither knew what to do in between moves.
Yeah, Cargill needs someone who knows how to wrestle.
So
because that's the only way she's going to get better.
Before I got to the main, as we discussed in chat, this was going to be my original point for the RGX Rants reboot. Now, obviously, these people have been brought in as coaches. Davari, Madison Rain, Sanjay. They've all been brought in, and arguably they're the ones that pass on the requests from the guys to get on TV or to get a segment, pitch storylines. And they have been on TV on the main show, taking time away from the guys that are meant to be coaching.
Yeah. What's your problem?
They're showing him how to get on TV. This is how you do it.
Yeah, wait your turn.
Even Pat Buck's getting
I know,
TV
I was going to say, even Pat Buck got on TV.
At least when the producers in WWE, right, the only time you see them is to rush out and pull apart a
ball. They're faceless, aren't they? They're just like faceless entities that are that you kind of recognise.
Instead of forced onto TV to prop up every single segment. Because apparently their idea of coaching is physically being out there and holding their hand.
Yeah. So, Cargill won the match, obviously. I rated 1 3/4. I remember when me and Frozzy were doing the awards, and then Frozzy and me said that Cargill might make the top 20 next year. Not with any matches I've seen.
It's not happening. We were hoping that she might actually, she is getting better. Everyone can see the improvement, but when she's in there with Madison Rain,
exactly.
Absolute
She's being fed dross, so she's not getting anyone that can actually help her improve.
Yeah,
you're only as good as the people you're wrestling for the most part, especially when you're new. So, absolutely, she's
going to be a year behind at this rate.
But luckily, she's going to be facing Athena next. Who clocked her from behind. She was about to hit a few more moves, but she got pulled out the ring before anything else could happen. We had another segment, surprisingly, with Thunderstorm. Awkward segment, I'm going to be honest. It just felt really awkward.
It was bad.
Yeah, they were talking about title matches, and I'm
number one contender, and you know that, well, I guess I would have to fight you, but I'm not happy about it. But I want the title, but yeah, it was shit.
Yeah. And then we're on to the main event, which everyone wants to discuss. So we had Jericho versus Moxley. It started off pretty well, like the wrestling side of it. Jericho was pulling out with submissions you haven't seen in years, let alone he was actually proper stretching him. Then Excalibur annoyed me. I didn't even mention this to you guys. He was annoying me about this Mexico thing. He was trying to get it over to Regal. He was going, but John Moxley hasn't fought in Mexico, so he can't. He's like, what does that even matter? Well, stop mentioning Mexico. It doesn't mean anything that he's not fought in Mexico, so he can't beat Chris Jericho. What the fuck are you on about? Then there was I really enjoyed this, that Jericho pulled Moxley's earring out. Like, it was brutal, and then Moxley surprisingly started bleeding, but he was bleeding bad from that ear. And then they went to the picture-in-picture stuff, which I don't really watch. They came back. Then Moxley was in the walls of Jericho for 5 minutes, which we're going to discuss a bit in a bit.
1 minute and 28 seconds.
Yeah, about 5 minutes.
He was in that hold for 1 minute and 28 seconds. Meanwhile, the commentators are putting over how it's like the most deadly maneuver ever because you can't hold your breath that long. Never mind being stretched at the same time.
Yep.
And then immediately just gets up and continues on as normal once he's out the hold.
Yeah. Just for some reason goes up to the top rope and does a dive, doesn't sell anything because Jon Moxley does Jon Moxley things. And I'm really pissed off about it.
Jon Moxley's great. Let's move on. This was followed by Chris Jericho ripping a turnbuckle off. Aubrey fixed that turnbuckle, then Chris Jericho ripped another one on and then threw it to the ground, so Aubrey had to go fetch it outside. Never seen a ref fetch a turnbuckle, by the way. They normally just go, why is that, like that, and then carry on with their lives.
They even alluded to that on commentary, like, why is the referee got out of the ring?
Yeah. They shouldn't have JR on commentary for this stuff because he will point out what the fuck is going on. And then out of nowhere, Jericho's calling for something. A bat goes perfectly into his hands and nothing goes wrong. Oh wait, it goes out the other side of the ring. Even Sammy Guevara's laughing like, oh, that's the most stupid thing ever.
Not only did it go clean out the other side of the ring, Aubrey's back in the ring at this point already, so he'd already missed his cue to throw it. Yeah. So Aubrey has to like crab walk along the ropes so she can keep her back to it the whole time. And she practically gets hit with the belt because Sammy overshoots. It physically goes past the back of her head. So she would have felt it. And then the bat lands next to her.
Yeah, she gets, but like, she doesn't help herself, but she's also in the matches which are terrible. So it's a mess. But yeah, so
all the matches of Jericho in them for whatever reason.
She's big fan.
Had her as a referee.
Yeah, some wrestlers pick referees, don't know. It's like the Young Bucks and
Jericho does pick her. Yeah, that's like a known fact.
Yeah, it's got Knox as the Young Bucks. He's always in their matches. To be fair, I forgot to mention that in it was the Tornado tag match. I forgot to mention. JR said, because I think Kazaric Scala went, the only thing he needs to do is count the pin. And then JR went, well, that's at least one less thing you can mess up. I was shooting there from the hip. He's like, so yeah, Jericho whacked Moxley with the bat. So that ends the match. No, it doesn't. Moxley kicks out. So then he hits the Judas effect. So Jericho wins the match and wins it. No, Moxley kicks out.
By the way, this Judas effect isn't protected in any way by Jericho maybe falling to the ground for a minute and slowly making cover. No, he's dead centre, middle of the ring, and it's not even like a close 3 count, it's like 2.5.
Yeah, it's still
really annoyed me that.
And then I believe Jericho got him in the Lion Tamer.
I'm gone at this point. I'm done.
He got him in the Lion Tamer and he got out of that, and then he basically got him in they were brawling. He busted Jericho open. He got him in a few chokes, and he ended up picking up the win in a choke where Jericho was in it for like a minute or so, and eventually he tapped.
A minute and 28 seconds.
Not even his bulldog choke though, just a regular.
Yeah, just like a normal choke. Like, except for the random bit, I really enjoyed this match, and then it got ruined. Like, this could have been like a 4.5-star match until it didn't. Like, I read it 3.5 stars in the end because I still enjoyed the majority of it. But like, it was silly, and then obviously this led to an afterbirth. So we had the Jazz Society come down, and then Claudio came down, and then out of nowhere, Punk's music hits. He comes down, he absolutely obliterates everyone. Did anyone see the Jake Hager bump? That was hilarious. So basically, JK, he got in the ring and Jake Hager ran at him. You know where they do the thing where you throw him over the rope?
Aye.
And I think Jake Hager landed on the rope, and I think he expected Punk to turn around to punch him, and then he realised Punk isn't going to turn around, so he just stood there and then bowed down. Just because he was going, I've got to do something, otherwise I'm just going to be standing here watching him beat him up. And then they just had a stare down between Mox and Punk. Mox swore at Punk and then shoulder barged him and left, and then that was the end of Dynamite.
So, obviously, they had blood and guts nearly a month ago now, and this feud is still going.
Yep.
It's still going. Right,
it will never end!
Where the hell do they go from here? Are they just randomly just going to stop interacting with each other at some point?
No, an actual death match. Someone's going to die.
No, they're probably do
I nearly died.
They'll probably do like Rage in a Cage or something like that, and that'll be the end of it.
Moxley will kick out of death. That's what his heart will stop,
like,
and then he'll just.
Up and he's like, nope, shoulder up.
But yeah, 12 segments in that show. 12 segments and 5 matches.
Wow.
And I'm not even counting the stuff that happened after matches either.
That's a good ratio.
Yeah.
That's insane. It's a short show as well. Well, to Raw, oh my god.
What did you say SmackDown was? Like 7 segments and 5 matches? They have the same 2 hours.
That's propaganda. So Raw was 8 and 7, and then SmackDown was 7 and 5.
Yeah, 7 and 5.
7 5, yeah.
For the same 2 hours. Makes no sense. And
Booker of
then
the year.
they fecked up the main event anyway, with the ending.
And the fact of the start of the show as well.
I'm not too fussed about the start of the show. I'm more annoyed because there's a world title in this somewhere. It's a joke.
This was almost like a delayed reaction panic booking. And to me, like the whole thing of having these matches on just a Dynamite, give it a little Dr. Seuss kids book subtitle if you want, but it's still just free TV, and we're seeing this constantly. Mox has bled in like 6 of his last 7 TV matches, not pay-per-view, TV matches.
Yeah.
Right?
Yes. I'm here for it.
I'm not. I'm so done with
I wanted to Ric Flair then to start bleeding.
I'm so done with blood in wrestling in 2022.
Yeah. I agree. It's just, there's so much pointless stuff happened in this match. Like I said to you before we came on, that you moaned about Bianca Belair not selling. Jon Moxley has done more non-selling in one match than Bianca Belair's done in her career.
Yeah? Jon Moxley's an odd man.
No, you can't. No, that can't be the argument.
Jon Moxley's hard.
No, it's ridiculous. They've ruined the Walls of Jericho. They've ruined every single finisher, and he's just getting on the top rope and jumping off, which is something he never ever does. But he's just been in like a leg lock for about 10 minutes.
I don't see your point. I don't see your point at all. You're not making any sense to me. The Booker of the Year can do no wrong.
Yeah, right.
My captain.
See, if half of these matches had been in a pay-per-view, we would have looked at it differently. Like, if all those finisher kickouts happened on All Out, for example, it'd have been different, because it's a big pay-per-view, it's special, it means something.
Yeah.
Like?
We all knew that Punk was probably going to be back for All Out.
Yeah.
And it wasn't going to be Jericho he'd be facing.
No.
So we all kind of knew it'd be Moxley that was winning this.
Yeah.
It was booked with 2 weeks notice?
Yeah.
So, yeah. To me, this was just... It's throwing away good money. It's just bad booking in general to put these kind of matches on free TV. It's how you burn out your superstars. It's how they've got a roster half injured.
Yeah.
I'm souring on AEW. I don't even think it's anything to do with WWE improving.
No, it's the booking. It's just bad booking.
It's just I feel like my eyes are being opened.
Yeah, it's the lake that they've just quaked by. I want to throw myself in.
Oh.
And
it was a good show. Death.
AEW, everybody.
Oh, Elite Wrestling.
So that wasn't so much an RGX rant segment as just RGX rants throughout, so apologies for that. But
we're becoming that podcast.
You still have less segment than AEW did, so it's fine.
As you've seen, we have gone under a rebrand lately. Nice fancy new logo, nice new layout. We've got lots of new projects and things coming up on the horizon, including our very own DP, who has something he wants to share with us. Go ahead.
So, hello everyone. I want to announce that I am joining the Maximum Male. No. This Friday, tomorrow, I'm going to be heading off to an indie show hosted by Purpose Wrestling. It's called Everything I Love Is Going to Die. It's a nice little 7-match card that is headlined by the OGMO or Michael Oku against Rio, and also they're going to be crowning their Purpose Wrestling world champion, in the tournament finals between Connor Mills and Jordan Breaks. So I will be there at that show, taking notes and doing what I do, and yeah, we'll be seeing it at some point in the future.
A review will be hitting this channel, so we look forward to that. Obviously, you may have noticed the tagline from the logo in the corner as well, the news, reviews and interviews. The reception to the George Lydon interview has been amazing so far. We are seeing a lot of channel growth, which is brilliant. So you'll have also noticed that I've added a little subscribe button down the bottom right hand corner. Please give that a little click. Every little subscriber helps. To paraphrase Tesco.
You're gonna get sued, boys!
Hashtag not a sponsor. Our socials are in the Discord description below, including Discord, where we chat a load of random crap in there. We have little fun games like Guess the Wrestler based on their title history, video game chat, the lot, and just chat in general. And of course, our social links are in the description as well for our Twitter, with the show Twitter being @honor_club. That is honour with a U because we are British. And the next up on the channel will be Rate's Sporkle videos, but this one has a little twist. We had George Lydon on doing the interview on Monday, and he hung around and did a challenge on the Sporkle. So not only can you beat Rate, can you beat Kamikaze Pro Live Champion George Lydon.
Yep.
Find out Saturday.
And officially, the title's on the line. He said the title's on the line. He can't go back from this now.
Oh. So do you want to be Kamikaze Pro Live Champion? Keep an eye on the channel on Saturday.
This is where we find out someone's took that literally, and like, where's my bout?
So thanks everyone for joining us. Well, take care and we'll see you next time. Bye.
See ya.